At this point in Nigeria's political journey, a coalition is not just desirable, it is absolutely necessary if we are serious about defeating the APC and reclaiming our stolen mandate. However, my support for a coalition comes with one very important condition, and that is this. The presidential ticket of that coalition must be given to Peter Obi, and it must be done through consensus, not conflict. And this position is not based on sentiment, tribe, or blind loyalty. It is based on facts, political logic, history, and global best practices. As of today, Peter Obi remains the only individual in Nigeria with over 6 million official votes without party structure. I deliberately use the phrase official votes because we all know the truth that the real number of votes he received in 2023 was far higher. But for the sake of this argument, let us stay with what was officially declared. Now let us compare this with Atiku Abubakar's situation in 2023. Atiku contested the election with 13 sitting governors, 38 senators, 122 members of the House of Representatives, numerous members of state houses of assembly, a fully established national party structure in the PDP. Yet, despite all of these advantages, Atiku still ended up with roughly the same 6 million votes that Peter Obi secured without any of these supports. This is not an insult, and it is not disrespect. It is simply the truth. The clear lesson here is this. Atiku's strength comes primarily from party machinery, not from organic grassroots support. Remove the PDP and Atiku's political weight reduces significantly. Peter Obi, on the other hand, proved something extraordinary in 2023. He showed that one man, one message, and one movement can mobilize millions of Nigerians without governors, without senators, and without federal might. This brings me to a very important point. The coalition needs Peter Obi more than Peter Obi needs the coalition. In political coalitions across the world, there is an established principle. When opposition parties come together to defeat an incumbent, they rally around the most popular candidate, the one with the strongest grassroots appeal and the highest probability of winning. This is not theory, this is practice, and it has worked repeatedly, especially in developing and third world democracies. Let me give verifiable examples. Example 1. Zambia, 2021. In Zambia, opposition parties understood that division would guarantee defeat, so they formed a coalition to challenge the ruling Patriotic Front. They gave the ticket to Hakainde Hichilema, not because he owned the biggest party machinery, but because he was the most popular opposition figure in the country. So popular was Hichilema that he was unopposed in the primaries. Everyone agreed that if they wanted to win, he was their best chance. He led a coalition of 10 opposition parties under the UPND alliance and defeated the incumbent president Edgar Lungu, who had been in power from 2015 to 2021. That victory did not happen by accident. It happened because the coalition chose popularity over entitlement. Example 2. Kenya, 2002. In Kenya, the ruling party had been in power for 39 years. Defeating them required unity. When the opposition coalition was formed, there were several big political figures involved, including Raila Odinga. But when it was time to choose a flag bearer, they did something strategic. They gave the ticket to Mwai Kibaki because at that moment, Kibaki had broader national appeal and was more acceptable to swing voters. Raila Odinga made sacrifices, supported Kibaki, and the coalition went on to defeat the long-ruling incumbent government. History was made. Again, popularity and electability were prioritized over personal ambition. Example 3. Nigeria, 2015. We must not forget our own history. When the APC was formed in 2013, it was a coalition of several parties and powerful political figures. There were many heavyweights, Tinubu, Atiku, Kwankwaso, and others. But when it came time to choose a candidate, the ticket was given to Muhammadu Buhari, not because he was the most sophisticated politician, but because he was clearly the most popular, especially among grassroots voters. The result was that the incumbent government was defeated and history was made. So the question must be asked honestly: why should the rules suddenly change now? If the ADC and other coalition partners are truly serious about defeating Bola Tinubu in 2027, then they must follow the same global logic, and that logic points clearly to Peter Obi. Let us also remember something important about Atiku's political history. In 2007, Atiku Abubakar contested for president under the AD as a sitting vice president of Nigeria. He had elite backing and the support of Bola Tinubu, who was then the governor of Lagos. Yet, he failed to make significant impact. Now, compare that to 2023, when Peter Obi contested under a relatively small party, without state backing, without security protection, and without access to federal resources, and still won the election in the eyes of Nigerians. The contrast could not be clearer. Peter Obi's support base is organic, emotional, youthful, cross-regional, and nationwide. This is exactly the kind of candidate a coalition needs to defeat an incumbent. So in summary, let me be very clear. Coalition is necessary. Coalition is good. Coalition is the only realistic path to victory in 2027. But for the coalition to succeed, the presidential ticket must be given to Peter Obi through consensus. Not because of sentiment, not because of noise on social media, but because he is the most popular, the most marketable, and the most electable candidate in Nigeria today. If the ADC is serious about winning, then they must do what successful coalitions have done all over the world: choose the candidate that gives them the best chance of victory. And the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is that that candidate is Peter Obi.